Hello, everyone. Welcome to the workshop on CTO's Vault, the ultimate guide to Web3 security workshop, presented by AuditOne. So, AuditOne is an auditor pooling platform helping Web3 as well as AI projects in ensuring their security with its largest pool of auditors on our platform right now. So, myself, Rajshekar Tota, CTO at AuditOne, and today I'll be speaker for this workshop. And my team is in the background to assist you in case if you have any questions. Please use the comment box. And before we begin, let's look into the agenda for today's workshop. So if you look at agenda, firstly, I think there are audience from beginner level as well as the advanced level. So we want to give a quick sneak peek into Web3, where we cover it under section Understanding Web3 and Security Challenges of Web3. And in detail, let's see what is the threat landscape with the momentum shift from centralization to decentralization. And post that, we will discuss about what will be the best practices that a Web3 security firm can carry out during the development process to after deployment. And along with that, we also have two tools from our AuditOne side where we'll be showing you demos which are going to be public today that can be used by projects to assess their security levels, as well as if you are looking for an audit, you can calculate the audit price. And finally, we are going to have a look into case study from one of our best clients, Aurora, whom we audited for almost 3 times, 3+ projects with them, and also running a bug bounty right now. So let's begin. So firstly, let me start with the brief overview of Web3. So if you look at Web3, it is the evolution of internet where the shift has been happening from centralization to decentralization, and blockchain is the core technology used in this Web3. So what is the difference between this Web2 and Web3 if you ask me? Web2 is something that heavily relies on centralized platforms. Like if you see like Google, Facebook, whatever applications you are using, which are having database controlled by the centralized authorities, those fall under Web2. And if you look at Web3, it is quite distributed, and users are someone who are having the power or authority over their data. So this is the Web3. And if you look at the characteristics, um, they purely operate on decentralized networks. That means network is not under control of someone, but it is controlled by the users who are part of these communities. And secondly, this removes the reliability on the central authorities. Like one need not rely on the central authority. And if you look at the transactions, they are trustless, but carried out with the help of protocols, which are preset. And thirdly, this is really important. And this is a reason why security is something which needs to be considered at every point of development in Web3. Immutability. So the nature of blockchain itself is immutable. Um, and this immutability at a point ensures transparency and also integrity. But at the same time, it is also posing some security challenges. If addressed in a correct way, this can lead to some tremendous applications. And then coming to the key technologies of Web3, firstly, the blockchain. So blockchain is nothing but distributed ledger. So whatever transactions happen across this network of computers in Web3, they are stored in the blockchain. And second thing, as I told you that everything works on protocols, these protocols need to have self-serving codes or self-executing codes. So these self-executing codes are written in the form of smart contracts. And now you have the technology to store your transactions, you have the code that is making decisions, and you need to have the applications. So in Web3, the applications are known as decentralized applications, which are built on decentralized networks here. And now, as you see, there is a new technology evolved. With the evolving technology, there will also be certain challenges. So here I would like to give you an overview of what would be the security challenges in Web3. So as I told you in the previous slide, the decentralization is something which is core feature of Web3. There is a shift from centralized authorities control to distributed networks. So as there is a shift in technology, there are like new attack vectors. If you talk about centralized applications, you always have like set of attack vectors that you can look into, and then ensure that IT security is followed by particular organization. But if you look into Web3, as it is new, there are always new attack vectors arising, for which we need to keep a check on. So this is one of the security challenge in the beginning. And then smart contract vulnerabilities. As I told you, once you write code on blockchain, deploy it on blockchain, you cannot change it. Okay. So because of this immutable nature, once let's say a vulnerability is recognized and a malicious actor is trying to deplete it completely, then one cannot take a quick action. And also if you look at blockchain, it is dealing with a lot of funds around it. So this is the second challenge, where smart contract vulnerabilities leading to fund losses. And the third one is user security. In this Web3, generally users use their wallets, and private keys are used to ensure the security. And if you look at the identities, you don't have a username or something like that, but you run on decentralized identities. So here there is a threat in the form of securing this private keys and wallet security. For example, if you look at private keys, there is a scope that you might lose it, and somebody might get an access to it using social engineering, and then you lose funds. This is at an individual level. But if you look at the projects level, if a private key is lost, imagine like what could be the potential of loss that would happen. So private key is a security challenge that needs to be really protected well. And then wallet security. Let's say if an organization has a wallet that is being controlled by one person, and if person is threatened to give off his wallet address or wallet security, so this is also a potential challenge. So there, with the emerging technology, there are also certain new challenges coming up in this space, and regulatory uncertainty is the last thing I would like to discuss. So if any technology, may it be AI, may it be Web3, with the evolving technology, there evolves the regulations. So if you look at the Web3 space, the regulation is right now evolving, and there is certain uncertainty in terms of where you are implementing particular technology, and is it acceptable in that particular country or not. So this is also one of the challenges. So this is the overview of what are the security challenges present in Web3. And now let's look at the threat landscape. Like, let's say, what are the common vulnerabilities that were found previously, and the huge amount of money lost because of these threats happened in the past. So firstly, let me discuss about this smart contract exploits. So in smart contracts, as they are deployed, they are immutable. These codes were always used to be vulnerable to certain attacks. One of the famous attack was reentrancy. Uh, if you hear about the history of reentrancy, it has the legacy of adopting a complete change to a Ethereum network. So imagine like how impact it can create with a small vulnerability. So reentrancy is an attack where you can withdraw funds if the system is not updated with the fund transfer being done, and a malicious player can easily withdraw funds continuously, and this led to forking of Ethereum chain at once. You can imagine like how impactful a vulnerability led to. And then integer overflow. Let's say if you have set supply of token to an X amount, which would be the maximum, and later that maximum amount has been completed, then what happens is that it comes back to the original state again, because it can hold a particular byte size data. And imagine like a protocol which has this integer overflow sort of vulnerabilities, and starting back again. So how would users feel? So this is one of the vulnerability. And then these smart contracts are developed by human, so there is always a chance for human error in the form of logic flaws, which can also lead to these vulnerabilities, which can cause a lot of loss to the products or the services built around these smart contracts. And the second case is like decentralized finance risk, flash loans. And then rug pulls. So rug pulls were once a common vulnerability in terms of founders just liquidating the money and running away because of improper admin controls implemented or access controls implemented, and protocol vulnerabilities. If you look at the DeFi based applications, they are built on certain protocols, and if there is a vulnerability present in the protocol, the whole of DeFi applications also would have been affected. So with the evolving technology, there has been the threat landscape also evolving in this Web3. And social engineering. Social engineering is coming since the Web2 phase, but it is still continuing during this Web3 phase too, where phishing attacks to get access to the private keys, and then impersonation to get access to the funds. These sort of activities have become very common in this Web3. So in order to avoid these threats or vulnerabilities in the smart contracts, now we would like to discuss about the best practices that an organization could take up. So look at the cycle here. So whenever we consider a Web3 project, we envision there are like three stages of any Web3 project where security needs to be key at every aspect. So the first phase is development. This is the place where the companies start building their smart contracts, they do testing, and they deploy it on their test nets and test if everything is working properly or not. And this is done at development, this is done by developers as well as testers as a part of organization, where unit testing could be conducted, integration tests could be conducted. So whatever related to testing and development could be done at this phase. And during this phase also, the security needs to be given priority. Not all developers can be security researchers. So we have certain recommendations in terms of how developers can utilize these security features that are open source. So there are certain automated tools that developers can make part of their developers can make part of their development cycle. And let's say during testing, they can also check with respect to key management, how they're handling and etc. And the second phase is pre-deployment. So pre-deployment is a phase where you're planning to deploy your contracts, and before that you need to do certain security checks to ensure that nothing would go wrong after deployment. So this is the point where security audits play a major role. That means not just your team is looking into the code, but you can approach third parties like AuditOne in order to perform security audits, where auditors, the third party experts who are specialized in security, look into what could be the potential vulnerabilities, what could be the potential exploits that could happen if this smart contract is deployed. Yeah, yeah, this is where the security audit plays an important role before deployment. And the second thing is like bug bounties. So if you look at the Web3 landscape, bug bounties are very interesting zone, because security audits, there might be like 3 to 4 people looking at the audit. During the audit, 3 to 4 people might be looking at the code. But bug bounties is a place where you make your code base public in order to make other security researchers look into it, so that you are expanding the perspectives into which your code is looked into. So more the perspectives the code is looked into, they try to identify what could be the more potential exploits that could happen, and help you with continuous research, I mean continuous security maintenance. So security audits and bug bounties really play an important role pre-deployment. So that is where AuditOne, our organization, has a good potential in doing that, and we'll discuss in detail like how we do it and etc, and how we differ from others. And later, after your contract has been deployed, that doesn't end. So as a part of continuous security, we do security audits and bug bounties at the code level. But after deployment, the on-chain also matters a lot. You need to always keep track of your on-chain transactions. Is it happening in a correct way or not? So for which the on-chain monitoring plays an important role. And secondly, although this sort of security is enhanced, there might be chance that the exploitations could still happen. for which a response plan is mandatory. So now let's discuss about these best practices each in detail, how you could implement at your firm if you are a Web3 project development company. Um, and then we'll see how could you get a security audits done and on-chain monitoring could be implemented on your projects. So firstly, let's talk about the automated tools. So as I told you during development, one can use developers can use these automated tools, which are generally utilizing the principles of static analysis. And also there are certain tools which are utilizing the AI principles into it in order to identify the known vulnerabilities that could cause exploits. So if you look at the first tool, Slither Analyzer, it's open source and free, and it could be integrated with any of the IDEs like Remix or VS Code. Um, and how does it work is like already there are like 70 plus vulnerabilities on which the static analyzer is trained on. You can just run the Slither on your code in order to identify the known vulnerabilities. But the problem with this Slither is like there are certain false positives which you still require further audit to be done, and it works only for the known vulnerabilities, remember. And for unknown vulnerabilities we recommend like a third party check. And there is another tool called as Mythics, which is a paid version is available. It also integrates with many of the applications. And then you have like Solidity Scan, which can be integrated with IDEs. And also we have also integrated into our app, and it utilizes AI in its backend to identify certain vulnerabilities which are known. It is like doing a pre-check kind of stuff before you deploy it on chain or before going for a security audit. And then third one is the fourth one is like AuditOne integrations. So we have two integrations on our app right now in the form of UI, where you can just test your contracts for certain known vulnerabilities by deploying them on testnet and then getting the contract address, so that the AuditOne integration will analyze how many vulnerabilities are present, and then it also gives a good report for you guys, um, which you can use it to do the preliminary checks or preliminary fixes using these automated tools. And finally, we are planning to release our AI audit tools, which would be working as an assistant to auditors to help them find out the known vulnerabilities and then do a pre-check. And also, currently it is in development phase, and we'll soon launch our limited access phase in coming months. And the next one is key management. So as I told you, like key management is really, really important in Web3. If you lose your private key, you always have a chance that you lose a lot of funds. So there are like two practices which we are recommending as a part of key management. So first thing is like for signing anything, always try to use multi-sig wallets, which takes approval of not just one person, but try to have like 2 by 3 confirmations in order to confirm a transactions, or else 4 by 5 to ensure the security, so that not just one key is involved, but multiple keys are involved in implementing certain sort of activities. And then second thing, hardware wallet. So don't just store your keys in a paper, or else let's say somewhere online, which are prone to attacks, and then you might lose the keys. So for that we recommend you to use a hardware module that could be really helpful in terms of storing it securely. And then these hardware modules, they provide like tamper resistance also, in case of cryptographic keys especially. And whenever you're doing key management, also have a recovery and contingency plans in case of any unexpected events. So let's say if there is some attack happening, if you want to freeze your contracts, who is going to make what sort of signature is something which you need to write in the contingency plan and have it as a part of recovery. And then also for this key management, train the individuals and also update the documentation regularly, like who is going to handle if in case this key related hacks happen on your contracts. So this is something you can do till development phase, and post that, that is where you need to prepare for securing your smart contracts before deploying them on chain. So this is where the security audits come into place. So why security audits need to be done is like, they give a protection against these smart contract vulnerabilities. And let's say, if users want to trust your application and your smart contracts that are running your applications, if there is an audit, there is a tendency that people trust it, because it has been viewed not just by your team but also a third party independently, which gives a report on it. So it will build trust and also reliability, so users can feel that this project is reliable if it is audited and it is secured. And compliance and regulation, could also be handled in certain audits. So now what I want to present is like, if you look on the right side of the slide, there is a picture of how AuditOne does this security audits, so that we ensure that audit is not just done by one person but a pool of people. So on our platform currently we have 450 plus auditors, of which like nearly 100 are eligible for their audits. And how we do an audit is like, initially whenever we get a Web3 project, we allocate like 3 to 4 auditors who work independently in order to identify what exploits could be done on it or what are the issues in the code. So this includes lead experts as well as experts from our team too, who look into the project individually, and later a peer review is conducted. So during this peer review, everybody tries to assess each other's issues and come out with the solid amount of issues that could potentially exploit the smart contracts written. And this is where the projects are invited to handle the fixes, and it is revalidated again to make sure that those fixes are done. At least the high medium issues are particularly fixed in order to avoid the loss of funds in the contracts. And then we then say that okay, the contracts have been audited, and then release it for the public. So this is how we do the audits, and we ensure the transparency in what we audit in the form of reports that are available on our platform. And the second thing is like bug bounties. So why there is a need for bug bounties is like, let's say, as I told you, like audits might be looked by only 3 to 4 people, but if you want make sure that continuous security practices are maintained, it's better to keep it open for other security researchers to look into it. So these bounties offer a lot of security, and at the same time, they also create a kind of trust in the people that okay, these guys care about security. If a bug bounty is placed by a project, obviously the users think that okay, these guys are really caring about security, and then they might be showing potential interest towards that. And then how bug bounties work is like rewards will be distributed based on the criticality of vulnerability found, like, and then it also helps in marketing. And as I told you, like, the ongoing security practice is always maintained with the help of this. And if you look at the active bounties on our platform, we have Aurora. Recently there has been a critical vulnerability identified, and the bounty has been paid out. So you see, although the audits are being conducted, there might be chance that certain vulnerabilities might be still seen, which could be identified by this group of white hat hackers in the form of bug bounties. And these two things could be done before deploying the contract on chain. And after you deploy on chain, even there is a need for security to be ensured. So on chain, what is that thing that you can monitor is transactions and anomalies in transactions that could be possibly lead to fund loss quickly. So in order to identify this, there is a need for on-chain monitoring. So what does this on-chain monitoring help you in? So on-chain monitoring generally helps you in early detection of frauds, uh, and also alerting the projects that there is a anomaly happening in the form of transactions. Could you please look into it? And when there is an alert, there might be a response plan with projects which they can use it to immediately curb that particular fraud happening. And it not only ensures the detection of frauds and alerting the projects, but also it helps you in compliance with respect to financial, anti-money laundering, and tax regulations too, if you're keeping track of transactions. And then what I want to discuss is like here we also support on-chain monitoring with the help of our partner Cybers. And if you look at Cybers, they have been doing tremendously good in terms of identifying the vulnerabilities on chain. I mean, not vulnerabilities exactly, but the pre-detection of fund loss. And during 2023 Q3, 85% of the hacks have been identified by Cybers. And they always say like another 515 million would have been avoided if there is a on-chain monitoring systems in place. So any project that is working in Web3, it's a good recommendation to have on-chain monitoring. And then response plan or having an incident management. So incident management is really mandatory for any sort of tech application, I say, because there might be chance that anytime something might go wrong. So for that, a response plan is crucial in Web3 even, in order to manage the threats. And let's say some important factors that you can consider that needs to be part of your incident management plan is like confirm who is going to sign the multi-sig in case of a hack happened in order to halt the contract or freeze. And then the communication channels must be definitely part of this response plan, because once a hack happens, how the communication should go in an encrypted way, and then immediate action needs to be taken. And let's say whenever a hack or potential exploit has happened on chain, we always recommend people to do a postmortem and make it public, so that their project can take the necessary steps to avoid that in future, and other projects can also do the same in future to avoid that. And then as I told you, like there is a tool, but before that I would like to take you through the case study of Aurora. Aurora is our one of the biggest clients whom we served security audits, and our process has helped them identify some more issues compared to others as we look from multiple perspectives. And we also have bug bounties in place, and along with us they also have bug bounties in multiple platforms in order to ensure the continuous security practices, and their repos are public. So in blockchain, after you make the deployment on chain, what we recommend is like make your repos public, because there might be chance of forking and building, but in order to ensure the continuous security practice, we always recommend to make it public, so that always the security researchers can look into it and then suggest you if there are any possible exploits post that event, because every day new attack vectors keep on rising until this becomes a bit more stabilized. And make sure that whenever you are developing the contracts, test cases should exist for all the functionalities, which this project obviously does. So these are this is about the case study. Now let's jump on to the tool. So at AuditOne, what we have designed is like you can evaluate what is the security based on the factors that we have discussed with the help of our tool. And after this, you also, after using this tool, you also get a guide which will tell you importance of each thing that we discussed during this workshop, and you can implement it as a part of your Web3 security. Now let me take you through this tool. Yeah, so here, and the tool is available in the website publictools.auditone.io. You can just click on security checklist. You can just enter your name and email address. For now, I'll just enter mine. And then you can click like what practices you're following. So in the development phase, let's say my project is fork of an already audited project or not. And then are you using static analysis during development? or you're using multi-sig. So I'm just randomly ticking certain things, and number of audits. So it's not just one audit will ensure you that your security is at core 100%, but there are other factors, other audits also we recommend to look it from different perspectives from different organizations. So let's say I have done like 3 different audits and I have like bug bounties on 2 different platforms, which gives exposure for continuous security practices. And then pen testing if you're having an application, and then on-chain monitoring, and has a response plan. So once you submit, you receive a security guide. I'm not sure. I can show you. Okay, so this is a tool which you can use, and maybe in a second I'll show you like how the report looks like, the guide and the score. You'll receive a mail based on that. Let me open the mail on other side and show it to you. So this is how you get a mail with the score. So I just got 77 by 100. And then here you also get a guide, which will give you list of security practices and explanation in detail, like what could be done. So this is one tool. And along with that, we also have another tool, which could be used by you to calculate what could an audit cost. And here I'll just enter a project name. And this repo is mandatory when you're doing it for public repos. If your repo is public, you can we evaluate directly the code lines and then assess the what could be the price of it. So I'll just put it as, and then source lines I'll enter as 134. And let me keep it private, because for private we do it based on SLOC. For public we do it on the GitHub based repo. And everything is connected to your mail. So you receive a mail once this request is processed in the form of a document, which will give you a list of the activities we do and what is the pricing for each. What is the pricing? So you can just look into this details and how we work with the audits. And you can also look into our top auditors by clicking on links here. So this is about tools. Maybe I'll get back to my slide again. So this security checklist is something which you can have to evaluate your security score. And if something is missing, you can always reach out to us to make it kind of 100% near and ensure your project is secure before deployment. And the second thing is price calculator, as I shown you. So if you have a contract that you wanted to get audited with us, you can just enter the details, select the programming language and repo type, and then we send you the assessment of how much would it cost. And finally, what we have here is like for all the attendees of this workshop, for the audit, we would like to give out the 15% discount, which you can avail now. You can reach out to Adrian or else Alina in order to avail this. And I'm sure like you're also going to get the CTO's guide for Web3 security post this session. So if you want to know more about AuditOne, we are auditor pooling platform once again. And if you're looking for any services with respect to audits as well as bug bounties, you can reach out to Adrian. And to know about the projects that we have audited till date, you can visit our website auditone.io, where you can see the security reports are kept quite transparent. And you can look into like what issues our auditors have detected. And you can also compare these audit reports with other firms too. And the third one is like, let's say if you're looking to check your security score and also the if you want to evaluate the price you can use the publictools.auditone.io. That's all from my side. And then maybe if you have any questions now, I'm open to answer, and you can comment, and my team will reach out to me with those comments. Okay, if there are no questions, so thank you all for joining, and we'll keep on doing these workshops. Stay tuned for it. Thank you. Bye bye.